When we hear the word discipline in a school setting, our minds usually jump straight to detention, right? Some kind of punishment. But what if the real solution to classroom challenges isn't about control at all? What if it's something totally different? Today, we're going to dig into a whole new way of thinking about school discipline.
So let's get right to it. It really feels like discipline problems are on the rise in our schools, doesn't it? But why? Is it just the students' fault? Or is there something deeper going on that maybe we're all missing? All right, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll totally redefine what we mean by discipline. Then, we'll tackle the big challenges, the digital world, what's happening inside the classroom, and what's going on in a student's own head. And to wrap it all up, we'll talk about that super important alliance between home and school. Okay, first things first. Before we can even think about solving this, we have to get on the same page about what we're talking about. And here's the biggest mindset shift you need to make. Real, effective discipline is not about punishment. It's about guidance. Just look at this side by side. It really lays it all out. Punishment? That's all about fear. It's about controlling someone from the outside. But discipline? That's totally different. It's guidance-based. The whole point isn't just to make a kid obey. It's to help them build their own internal self-control and take on real responsibility. And the payoff for making this shift? It's huge. When we focus on discipline as guidance, what happens? Students can actually concentrate better. They learn to manage their own emotions. They show real respect. And all of that leads directly to academic success. See why getting this right from the very start is so critical? All right, let's get into our first major challenge area. And yeah, we have to talk about the elephant in literally every room, technology. It's created a whole new set of problems we've never had to deal with before. And the number one issue here, of course, is mobile phone addiction. I mean, when kids are spending hours and hours on games and social media, the results are pretty clear, right? Their attention spans get shorter, their schoolwork suffers, and it even messes with their sleep. So, what's the plan? How do we fix this? Well, it all starts with a super clear school-wide policy on digital devices. That means setting real standards for when and how phones can be used during the school day. But it's not just about saying no. It's also about encouraging them to use tech for actual learning. It's all about creating smart boundaries. Okay, so from the digital world, let's step right inside the classroom. This is ground zero, right? It's where all the dynamics between students and teachers happen, and where disruptions can totally take over if we're not careful. Now, one of the biggest problems is just this whole group of disruptive behaviors. You know what I'm talking about? Students talking back to teachers, flat out ignoring instructions, causing a scene in class, and, of course, the really serious one, bullying. Every single one of these actions just eats away at the learning environment for everyone. So how do you even begin to tackle that? Well, there's no magic wand. It's about building an entire culture of respect. And that means a few things. Really nurturing strong teacher-student relationships, having crystal clear rules that are actually enforced, actively teaching kids about empathy, and always using positive reinforcement when you see good behavior. And then there's the other side of this coin, academic disengagement. The signs are probably all too familiar. Kids who can't seem to focus, homework that never gets done, showing up late all the time, or even just not showing up at all. It's so important to remember these aren't just lazy kids. These are red flags signaling a much deeper problem. So the goal here is to actively reignite that spark of engagement. And how do we do that? You get them involved with interactive, hands-on learning. You make homework feel like it actually matters and give them great feedback. And you stay on top of attendance, making sure parents are in the loop right away. All right, we've looked at the classroom environment. Now let's go a little deeper and look inward. Because so much of a student's behavior really comes down to what's going on inside their head, their mindset, their motivation, their whole emotional world. And when we look inside, two of the biggest hurdles are low motivation and just not having great emotional control. For some students, school just feels boring. For others, the second they hit a roadblock or get frustrated, they lash out. These internal battles are what we often see on the outside as discipline problems. So the game plan here is to build resilience from the inside out. We can get them motivated by using things like storytelling and real-life examples that they can actually connect with. We can literally teach them emotional intelligence. And we can encourage things like mindfulness, sports, or just getting physically active, all things that are proven to help them get a handle on their emotions. Okay, this brings us to the final
And honestly, maybe the most important piece of this entire puzzle. Because none of this stuff we've talked about works in a silo. Real, lasting change only happens when you build a powerful alliance between the school and the home.
And the challenge here is simple, but it can be so destructive: a lack of parental involvement. When that bridge between home and school is weak or non-existent, the whole system of discipline and accountability just starts to fall apart. Kids get mixed messages, and everything gets confusing. So the key is that you have to be intentional about building that partnership. It won't just happen on its own. The plan is straightforward: have regular, meaningful parent-teacher meetings, and here's the key part: not just when something goes wrong. You've got to encourage parents to be part of the team, helping to monitor study habits at home. The whole idea is to create one unified team that's all focused on the same goal: helping that student succeed.
So if there is just one thing you remember from all of this, let it be this. Discipline is not built through fear. It's built through guidance, through love, responsibility, and crystal clear expectations. And that brings us to a final question, and this one's for you. Whether you're a teacher, a parent, or a leader in a school, I want you to really think about this. What is the one action, just one thing, that you will do this week to start building discipline through guidance instead of fear? Thanks so much for joining me.